Good morning students. I welcome you to our English Mulberry class. This video is for class 5 and we will do the poem, the mountain and the squirrel in this video. So students, in the previous class we have read the poem, the mountain and the squirrel. Let us quickly go through what happens in the poem. So, the mountain and a squirrel is a poem that tells us that nothing in this world is bigger or smaller than the others, but everyone has a unique quality and is important. So this poem acts as a dialogue between the mountain and the squirrel. So let's quickly come to the poem. The mountain and the squirrel had a quarrel. So, in this poem we see that the mountain and the squirrel begin quarreling. And the former called the latter, and the mountain, which is the former, means the first one, called the later one or the second one, little prick. So, the mountain calls the squirrel little prick. And the squirrel replied that yes, I believe that you are big, but all sorts of things are required to make a ear, and I think it is no disgrace, no shame for me to be a little one. If I am not as large as you, you are not as little as me, and not half so spry. So the squirrel says that if I am not as large as you, you are not as small as me, and you are also not half active as me. So here the squirrel tries to explain the mountain that you have your own special qualities while I have my own, and we both are special in our own ways. And at the end the squirrel tries to tell the reader that the mountain has a very pretty squirrel track and our talents differ. I have my own talent and the mountain has its own. So he says that if I cannot carry forests on my back, if I cannot do what the mountain does, that is, mountain has many forests in it. But if the squirrel cannot do this, neither can the mountain. So the message of the poem is that everyone, big or small, rich or poor, has its own quality and they have their own role to play. So, no one is superior to another, and hence the poem is done. Now let's come to the exercise work. So we will begin with making connections. Question number 1. The very first question is, children, this exercise is on page number 151. Question number 1. Making connection. Question number 1. Put a tick against the statements that you think are true and cross against those you think are not. So we have to put a tick if it is true and we have to put a cross if it is false or wrong. A part. The mountain and the squirrel disagreed with each other. Yes, we have seen that they quarreled. It means they disagreed. So, A part, it is right. Part B, the mountain was rude to the squirrel. Yes, the mountain thought that it is superior. It is large, so it is superior to the squirrel. So, it is also correct. C part, the squirrel was rude to the mountain. No children, we have seen that the squirrel quite politely tries to explain the mountain. So it is wrong. B part, the squirrel doubted that the mountain was large. No, it clearly said, you are doubtless very big, which means the squirrel had no doubt. So it is wrong. E part, the squirrel praises the squirrel track that the mountain makes. Yes, we see it in the very last stanza of the poem that I'll not deny you make a very pretty squirrel track. So this is correct. Come to part F. The squirrel believes that being small is better than being large. No, the squirrel clearly tells us that being small or being large, both are different and we both have our own special qualities. So it is wrong. The squirrel did not say that being small is better. Okay. Now let's come to question number 2. Children, in question number 2, what we have to do? Pick out and list 3 pairs of opposites from the poem. So we have to pick 3 opposite words given in the poem. So first of all, you have to write down the question in your copy. You will write down the question from the book. The question is, pick out and list 3 pairs of opposites from the poem. And the answer to this question is number 1, former, F-O-R-M-E-R. The opposite of former is letter, L-A-T-T-E-R. Second pair of word would be large. And what is the opposite of large? Small. Then the third pair of word is little. And the opposite would be big. So this was question number 2. After this, let's come to third question. Now question number 3 is reference to context. Children, please write down the lines from your book. A part, from the till break. Now let me read out the lines. The lines are: the mountain and the squirrel had a quarrel, and the former called the latter little prig. So the mountain and the squirrel had a quarrel. Quarrel is a verbal fight. So, and the former means former means the first one. So the lines are: the mountain and the squirrel had a quarrel, and the former called the latter little prig. So in these lines we see that the poet tells us that the mountain and the squirrel, they had a quarrel. This is a verbal clash when people fight using words. So the former means the first one. So who is the first one? The mountain. And the mountain called the latter, the second one, little prig. So the mountain calls the squirrel little prig. Little prig means one who is little and is annoying because of his or her attitude. So let's come to first question. Children, you have to write down question number 1 from your book. First question is, who are the characters in these lines? So the answer to part 1 is the mountain and the squirrel. So write down the answer. The mountain and the squirrel. After this, we will come to part 2. Now the question is, what was the quarrel about? So what was the reason behind this quarrel? Number 2. You have to write the question from your book. Now write down the answer. The quarrel was about Which of them? Superior. Now let's come to question number 3, part 3. Who called whom little pig? So the lines tell that the former called the later little pig. Who is the former? The first one, the mountain. So the mountain called the squirrel little pig. Write down the answer. Third part. The mountain called the squirrel and we will write little pig as given in the question in inverted commas. Little pig. First. So this is the end of the answers to question number 3. Now third A is over. Now I will drop the board and we will move to third B. Now, after doing this, write down the lines given in the book. The lines are but and ends with spill. Now let me read out the lines for you. But all sorts of things and weather must be taken in together to make up a year and a spill. So, question number 1. Who says these lines to whom? So write down the answer. The squirrel. The squirrel says these lines to the mountain. After this, we will move to the next question, part 2. Now the question is, what makes up a year? Why does the speaker refer to a year? So now, different seasons. Write down different seasons with different characteristics. So children, different seasons having different characteristics, like summer has its own, winter and spring, and so on. The different characteristics combined to make up an entire year. So why is the speaker talking about one ear or a ear? Because, write down, the speaker refers to a ear. The speaker refers to a ear. To emphasize on the importance of unity in diversity. After doing this, please write down question number 3. Now, third part. The question says, what is the sphere that the speaker refers to? Now, sphere is a shape and earth-like shape. So, write down the word is the sphere. So what is the sphere? According to the speaker, the sphere is the world or the earth. After this, we will come to question number 4. Children, write down question number 4 from your book. Now the question is, the squirrel lists 2 things it can do that the mountain cannot. So what are the 2 things that the squirrel can do? So children, we see that the squirrel says that you cannot carry a nut and you are not active like me. So we will write down the answer that the mountain cannot move. Write down the answer. The mountain cannot move. This is the first thing, that the mountain stays on its own place. And another thing is, and crack a nut and crack a nut like the squirrel. We are done with answer number 4. After this, we will come to answer number 5. So children, I will draw answer to question number 3. Okay. Now question number 5 is, the question says, what does the squirrel mean by saying, if I am not as large as you are not so small as I? So what do you mean by these lines? Write down. The squirrel means, The squirrel means that being small does not mean being inferior or less useful. So children, the squirrel tries to explain this to the mountain that being small does not mean that you are inferior to others. Now let's come to question number 6. Question number 6 is, all is well and wisely put. Who has put things wisely and well? What would happen if everyone had the same talents? So children, the things are wisely put, and who has put these things wisely? Write down the answer. God has put things wisely and well. Now, second question says, what would have happened if everyone had same talents? So write down, if everyone had same talents, then the world would be a boring place. And there would be no diversity, and there would be no diversity. After this, we will move to question number 7. Now, question number 7 is, what do you think the mountain would have said in reply to the squirrel? So, after listening all these words from the squirrel, the mountain would have felt a little bit of shame, no? That see, this squirrel is quite smart. So, write down the answer. The mountain would have felt, the mountain would have felt shame for its behavior. And agreed with the squirrel. Now children, after this we will move to the next question, which is question number 8. The question says, a fable is a short story that has a moral. Is the poem a fable? Give reasons for your answer. So do you think this poem has a moral? Yes, indeed it has. So this is a fable. Write down yes. This poem is a fable. Now we have to give the reason. So what is the moral that we learn? Write down the moral of the poem is that irrespective of size, comma, everyone has his or her own talents and usefulness. His or her own talents or usefulness. So children, here our poem The Mountain and the Squirrel ends. I will be back with chapter